watching, that means you've already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul Sporting with the talk. First lady from New York,
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the channel. Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. The Knicks lost in Brooklyn last night, 115 to, what was it, 122. I mean, they're 2-1 on the week, and I think coming into this week, many of us thought the Knicks would lose all 3 games, right? So they're 2-1 for the week. We can't be too upset. In that first half, though, the Knicks were giving up 3-pointers like candy on Halloween. They took 21 3-pointers and made 11 of them. Not many of them were contested. You know, I think the Knicks, they fought their way back into this game. They were down by 19 at one point. They came into the fourth quarter down 7, 81-88. And then Kyrie, who had only scored 11 points in the first 3 quarters, through the first 3 quarters, scored 21. That's what a star looks like. And they weren't easy shots. Grimes was all over him on some of those possessions, and he still scored. The Knicks trapped him once or twice. I would have liked for them to do it more, but once or twice they trapped him. It didn't matter. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. And we'll talk, I thought Brunson and Randle statistically had good games. I just thought they could have been a little better in the fourth. Maybe I'm mistaken. We'll see. Ajay is with me today. I'm opening up the panel, so if someone wants to jump on the panel with me this morning, I dropped the link in the chat. Let's get into it. Shout out to everyone joining me in the chat right now. Shout out to those that's going to join later and those who are going to watch later. Let me bring in Ajay.
Good morning, Queen, and salute the chat, Knicks Nation.
Yeah,
Sunday
how you
morning.
doing?
I'm good. I'm okay.
I know you take these Brooklyn losses kind of hard.
Yeah, I always think I take every loss kind of hard. But the game yesterday was not like the first game. Yesterday there was a little bit of fight. The first game we didn't fight. The first game we didn't show up at all. But yesterday we started off slow, but we picked it up and we made a game out of it. So it wasn't. I'm not totally devastated this morning. I'm all right.
All right. Let's get into just the setup, and then we'll get right into individual stats, team stats, and just general observations of the game. The Knicks came into the game with a 27-23 record, 7th in the Eastern Conference, having won 5 games over their last 10, won their last 2. Brooklyn came into the game 29-19, 4th in the Eastern Conference, 4-6 over their last 10. They lost 2. They were only 2-6 over their last 8 without KD. So they've been really struggling. We started the usual with Mitchell Robinson out, Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randle, Sims. They started Kyrie Irving, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Royce O'Neal, and Nick Claxton. Both Kevin Durant and Ben Simmons was out for this game. All right. Let's get into the individual stats. So what I usually do, Ajay, is I'll give the individual stats, and I'll just give my little impression of the player, and you can do the same.
Queen, I know, Queen. I listen to the show.
Yeah, you listen. Yes, you do. You're right. Brunson, and I appreciate the support. Brunson, 26 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, shot 52.6% from the field. He led the team in scoring. He had some key baskets. He had a bad turnover late at an inopportune time. I think it bounced off of his foot or something like that. I don't know. Brunson is always aggressive, but earlier in the season, he was able to dial up his number and get us a key basket. And I didn't see that last night. I just want to put this up real quick before you comment. JJ, our big three all had nice stat lines, but none of it felt impactful, particularly in the fourth quarter. But your thoughts on Brunson last night?
I think the league is starting to figure him out. And this is not one game or two game now. This is like continuously they figure out what that he's gonna do. He's got to switch it up a little bit. And I think a lot of the content providers talk about that. You can't allow the opposition to know exactly what you're gonna do every time up the floor. You got to switch it up a little bit. You got to sometimes you got to go for yours. Sometimes you got to pass it. Like you say it all the time, Queen. It'll come back to you. The ball can come back to you, but at least move around. Put a little pressure on that defense. Make him move around a little bit. Make him guess what you guys are going to do. Because you're not, I mean, listen, we have two other guys on the team that can score, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. And they were both fairly on last night. They weren't doing terrible yesterday. So he definitely could have passed the ball and move it around a little bit. Brooklyn's not a superb defensive team.
Right.
So there could have been a lot of different play call. This goes back to the play calling. Some people question Thibodeau's play calling. I don't know if that has to do with the coach or not, but I think that's the issue. We just got to switch it up a little bit. It can't be the same thing every time up the floor.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm an advocate. If you hot, you need to go back. You need to keep going to the well until it dries out. If you're not, then you need to move it around. Right. And I think, last night there was a few times in the game where I thought, Brunson was able to get to his spots against taller players with his strength, bounce off of them, get his shot. And then there was other times in the game when he wasn't. I think you just got to get better at knowing, I hit, this guy who's guarding me can't guard me. I can get anything I want. And then times when, it's not working. I need to pass it. And I think you're right. They're playing him. Listen, this is his first year being a starting point guard for the entire season without having, as Freezy would say, and shout out to Freezy from Blanche Tears, he has nobody to release the pressure from him unless you want your Randle going back to that role. And if you notice not lately, for most of the season, Randle just gives the ball up. Like he's got comfortable now just being the power forward. So he'll get the rebound. He'll just give it up. Grimes is not handling the ball. RJ will not handling in terms of releasing pressure off of Brunson, and he might need that. Because they know he has the ball in his hands most of the time. They're double teaming him, putting taller, where's the release valve? And he has to find them. And like you said, he'll get the ball back. Let me bring in Wiz before we move on. Oh, all right. We just lost him. RJ Barrett, 24.6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block shot, 56.3 for the field. I thought Barrett came out really aggressive in that first half. In that first quarter, hitting his shot. He had some really good defensive possessions in that first half. I thought I thought RJ Barrett played okay. He shot well also, 56.3% from the field, 60% from the 3-point line, and 75% from the free throw line. Your thoughts on RJ Barrett?
Well, as you mentioned, Queen, his defense picked up a little bit yesterday. And I complain about a lot of time about RJ Barrett. The one problem I have with him is he doesn't put in the effort on defense. He's a scorer. He can score. We know that. But the defense usually a lackluster effort. Yesterday, he came in to play defense, and he did. He did the best as he could. Sometimes he'd end up on Kyrie. Sometimes he ends up on Seth. He tried. He put in the effort. He was moving pretty good yesterday. He was working on defense. He didn't just come to score yesterday. So kudos to him for putting in the effort yesterday.
Right. Let me just shout out some of the chat. Usually I wait to the end, but maybe if it's player appropriate, I should bring it in. We played JJ. We played no perimeter defense, slow on rotations, especially Randle. Yeah, Randle did not have his best defensive night last night. Now I'm not gonna say he hasn't been playing defense all season. Like I'm not gonna go that far, but last night was not his best defensive. Showing. Well, let's get into Randle right now. 19 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, shot 43.8% from the field. Listen, and you guys may disagree, and I'm gonna get Wiz and then. Hello there, how are you?
Greetings, Steve. Greetings.
Sorry
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's late for me today because you started late today. 7:40 a.m. is real late for me to jump up.
Okay.
Thanks to the link. I just want to jump on the button real quick and just the comments.
Yes.
The RJ is actually totally. I think I agree with everything it says except the statement is Brunson cannot do the same thing. Did you notice there's a guy named Kyrie Irving did the same thing over and over again and still 1-on-1? If you're not a superstar, then you got to adjust the game. If you're a superstar, you got the plays where you can do it every time.
Correct.
And we know what you're gonna do, and we still can't stop you. And
Right.
that's the difference between a superstar and a all-star or a top-level player. So
Yeah.
that's very challenging, man. I mean that's just why I throw that in because that's where you need a superstar. You need a superstar. But that was beyond imaginative. I watched Kyrie and I'm like, okay, come on, guys, we can stop him, can't we? No, we can't. Okay, this time, no, we can't. It was beyond. I don't want to be a Kyrie fanboy, but yesterday I became one. I was trying to hate him. I'm trying to hate Kyrie, but I can't.
Right.
He's brilliant. Anyway, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You said you wanted to say something about RJ before we moved on to Randle, or no?
I can't because all the RJ lovers are gonna come to LA, and LA, I don't know where to hide because like I said, I was in chats on draft day and say, please do not draft this man. Please trade back and take two other guys who can get it, like 14 and 18. Obviously, a couple of the guys were what I was begging. You don't have to settle. You don't have to settle. He's a nice player, but number 3 draft pick is not the pick RJ gets right now. And we had to do it. If we're going to draft number 3, he was the guy you kind of had to take based on everything else, based on peer pressure, based on media pressure, based on everything else. He was the number 3 man, and I was begging, please don't take him. And not because he can't play ball, because he's not. I'm sorry, he's our number 3, 1, 2, or 3, kind of player. Not for my draft pick anyway. So that's why I'm saying about RJ, based on that, and based on that alone. He reflected that yesterday. Solid player, does something right, keeps improving, has a slightly higher ceiling than he is now, but not much higher. And that's my RJ take.
But listen, but even if you're right, that's okay. If he's your third option and he's giving you 24.6 rebounds, 2 assists, a block on 56.3% shooting, that's great. The thing with RJ Barrett is you're not going to always get that efficiency. And so when his efficiency is down, his points are going to be down. But if he's a number 3, I mean, I think that's fine. But let's move on to let's move on to Randle.
Yeah, go ahead.
Randle, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, shot 43.8% from the field. I like the 8 assists. And you guys may think I'm nitpicking, but I thought in the fourth quarter when the Knicks were drawing close and cutting into that lead, there were a few opportunities for Randle to score right at the basket, and he's spraying it out, as Ajay would say, passing the ball out. Who are you passing it to? You are right at the basket.
And Queen, you're not nitpicking. That actually happened a couple of times.
When we were within 5, we were within 3. He's passing it out to Grimes, who hit like maybe 1 or 2 shots that game.
Quentin Grimes, he was terrible from three yesterday. He shot less than 30%, maybe 2 for 6 or something like that. I mean, 2 for 8 or 2 for 7. 2 for 6 would be 33, but I think it was like 2 for 7, 2 for 8. Yeah, so there was no reason to pass he was right under the basket, Julius Randle. And there's nobody on the Nets that could stop him, maybe except Claxton, but a couple of those times Claxton was nowhere near him. So it was just him and maybe Watanabe or somebody. He really could have just like flushed it on them, but he didn't.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that the way Kyrie was playing, I'm not saying we would have won the game. All I'm saying is that same energy he brought to that Brooklyn game when he was just barreling into guys and getting to the line, I would have just liked to have seen that in the fourth quarter from Randle. That being said, though, 19 points, 10 rebounds. He was 2 assists away from, a triple-double. I can't bang on him too hard. It's just in those key moments when he was right there at the basket, I would have liked for him to take the shot as opposed to pass. Basically.
And
All right. Go
one
ahead.
quick thing about Randle, the 3-point shot was not falling yesterday. And I think he shot 1 for 6, 1 for 5, 1 for 6. He kind of recognized that, so he didn't continue. He didn't force it like he's done in previous games. Because some games, like he the 3-point shot was not falling. He would go like 2 for 12. Like he'd continue to hoist it up. But yesterday, I think he realized the 3 wasn't falling, so he was going in a little bit more and being doing more work in the paint and in the mid range, and then trying to force up the 3-pointers. So that's also a bit of a development on his part.
Yeah, good recognition. Like keep putting them up there when you're shooting 1 for 6. Quickley, 16.6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 54.5% from the field. He's really coming into his own. He is really coming into his own. And I think the biggest thing has been, in terms of his development, has been his shot selection and decision making. Because his defense, probably from that second year, had really improved, right? It was always the decision making and the shot selection. When should I shoot? When should I pass? Those sorts of things. He seems to be working it out. And he's getting his shots within the flow of the offense. And that second unit, him and iHeart got a little thing going. He'll pass it to iHeart. iHeart pass it back, screens off his man just a little, and Quickley is able to, take the shot. I think they did that a few times last night. So I really, really like the way Quickley is playing. And this is game in and game out now. This is one of the toughest things to do, and we'll talk about this when we get to Grimes. One of the toughest things to do in the NBA is be consistent. You'll see guys have 40-point games, 28-point games, shoot 7 for 7 from 3 or what have you. And then you don't see that again for another season, if ever. But the hardest thing is get to the point where you know what you're going to get from a player game in and game out. Talk to me a little bit about you and Wiz, what you saw from Quickley last night.
One thing I want to add about Quickley before I let Wiz go. Mm-hmm. His defense, I talk about consistency. His defense is like always there. I don't know the last time I saw Quick made a mistake on defense or he missed an assignment, or he's actually doing more than you expect from a defender. It's almost like he's covering 2 guys. On the switch, he's like his eyes on both men and the ball.
Right. And he gets over there quick. He seems to be out of a play on the rotation. And he can rotate over from wherever he is to contest the shot. We talk about Grimes, but in my opinion, Quickley is our best perimeter defender. His defense is amazing. Yeah, he just doesn't have the body strength and the girth and another inch or two that Grimes has. And I think that's why Grimes get these tougher assignments. But Quickley, in my opinion, is our best perimeter defender. Watch him. Just keep your eye on him and just watch him defensively over a few possessions or over a few quarters. And you'll see he's amazing. He really is.
And he's not very tall, but he's got long arms. So that makes up for it. He comes out of nowhere and sticks his hand in there. He does a lot of little things on defense that are like very, very good.
Right. Wiz, anything on quickly before we move on? All right.
Yeah,
Wiz is just
definitely.
okay. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Um, you know what? I am so split with Quickley. I think. I mean, obviously, he's doing more than what. Actually, exactly what I thought he would do. I was hoping that this year we didn't get Brunson and we had Quickley start. We had a bit of tough start because obviously Brunson has brought a different level for us and actually elevated his game. Um, he's playing like an NBA starter. He's playing not even he's playing like a fifth year NBA starter. That's where he's getting his game level right now. And so quickly for me, I cannot find a flaw right now because he's coming to his own and it's slowly showing us that he was worth the pick. And he probably should have gone higher based on his performance right now. He would have been a lottery pick 10 to 14 somewhere, if he showed this kind of skill set that he's doing right now, which I think he did, but it wasn't obvious. So I'm proud of Quickley, man. And I'm not a Quickley hive, but I'm slowly becoming a fan of Quickley. So yes.
I mean, listen, for those of us who had issues with him or any player early on, it was with reason. He was, inconsistent. His decision making and his shot selection wasn't great. And I'm not talking about just his first year, even into his third year. It wasn't great when you thought that he should be settling in. But it came a little later. He's in his fourth year, I believe. Is that correct? Or is this his third? Whatever it is. He's coming into his own. Let's talk about a few of the other players before we get to Brooklyn. We're not going to spend a lot of time on Brooklyn today. Sims, 6 points, 10 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 1 turnover. I thought Sims played well. He defended well. He rebounded well. His perimeter defense, he was out on Kyrie on the perimeter. Kyrie still made the shot, took him to the basket and shot over him. But he was defending him on the perimeter, and Kyrie still had to finish over Sims because Sims was right there for him. He makes some mistakes defensively, but for the most part, I think he's playing well for us. Anything on Sims? I'm gonna try to move through this section pretty quick.
Well, like you said, he's able to hold his ground on defense. He tried. Well, yeah, our centers did their part. They did what they could yesterday.
Right.
Yeah, Sims, and like you said, he defended well even when he was out on the perimeter. What can you do about Kyrie Irving? There's nothing you can do about Kyrie Irving. You just defend as much as possible. I mean, he's gonna score no matter what. So you just got to make it hard for him. Yeah. And Sims and the rest of them, they tried. We tried to play good defense on Kyrie Irving, and you just can't do much. So
yeah. Okay, Wiz, whenever you want to jump in, just take the mic off. You can drop in. You don't have to jump in on every player if you don't want to, because I know you're walking. Let's talk about Grimes. 38 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 of 11 from the field overall, 2 of 7 from the 3-point line. Like I said earlier, Grimes is exactly where he needs to be at this point in his development. He's a second-year player. Second-year players are inconsistent offensively. That's just how they are. We saw that with Quickley. We saw that with Mitch. We saw that with RJ, with Obi. They're inconsistent. The hardest thing, like I just said, to be in this league is consistent every single night, where you know what you're going to get from a player every single night. He's working his way into that, and I think he's going to be very good at it. Right now, though, in my opinion, you can make the argument. I just think IQ gives up. I know people were talking about IQ starting. I just think IQ gives up a few inches. And then who's leading that second unit? Right? You're going to go with Grimes and RJ leading the second unit. Who's handling the ball? Right? That's one thing. But, and I'll get Josh in here. But I do think we need a reliable shooter at 2. Not somebody that's going to, or at the 2 or the 3, not somebody that's going to take a lot of shots. That player has to be somebody that can defend, and that player has to be somebody that can play off of those other guys, right? But Grimes had multiple open shots last night and missed them. And again, that's where he is in his development. I just think the Knicks need to find a 2 or a 3. If you find a 3 and you move RJ to 2, whatever, that can knock down these open 3-pointers on a consistently.
I agree.
Wiz, let me let Wiz. He put his camera on. That lets me know that he's ready. And then Ajay and then Josh if he wants.
He's official now.
He's official now.
Yeah, I was running out to the garage. That's why I didn't want to talk while I'm running in. You guys hear me out of breath because I'm no longer that super athlete I used to be.
Okay,
Man, Grimes. He has all the essentials, all the skill set that I think we want to have. We wish he was like 3 inches taller, of course. But he's athletic. He has a quick step. He's got the handle. He's got the passing, I think. But yeah, like I said, he's playing like a second-year player. And the growing pains of that in the midst of trying to win now.
Uh-oh. All right. Wiz, he'll be back with us. Ajay, Josh, anything on Grimes' performance last night?
I agree with you, Queen. Grimes is exactly where he needs to be. He's a second-year player who in total had played, like when you add the number of games he's played, it's just about a season he's played.
Right.
I mean, these things that happen. He's a second-year player. Listen, I'm confident that he's going to get better. You know, he's going to get better in these moments. You got to remember, I mean, this is a high-energy game. Brooklyn and New York. You know, you could be as tough as nails, man. You go into that arena, man, you're going to have the jitters somehow. I mean, this is a rivalry, some quote unquote rivalry, because we're in the same town. This has to do something. Even Randle looks like he was out of place a little bit. He performed. He gave us 19 points. But, I mean, that's some guy who's been in the league for like 8-9 years, and he's still affected by the ruckus, by the crowd, by the back and forth and all that stuff, by the quote unquote rivalry. So Quentin Grimes, listen, he had a poor game yesterday, shooting wise. And then on top of that, he had to defend Kyrie Irving. So that alone can explain for his poor offensive performance. But, you know, he's going to get better after a couple of years in the league. I don't expect to have too many of those games. So,
no doubt about it.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Not worried about it.
Josh, your thoughts on Grimes and anybody else?
Good morning. First of all, good morning to Ajay,
Good morning, sir.
Steph.
Appreciate you.
Good morning to the Dope Soul family, as always. I just want to say in regards to Grimes, you know, personally, I've accepted the fact where the Knicks are right now, right? The Knicks are not in a people say that, you know, all the time, the Knicks are a win now. The Knicks are not win right now. They're not that. They are in a development phase of this rebuild or whatever you want to call it, right? Grimes is developing, like you said, where he's at, second year in the NBA. You know, Grimes is going to improve. But the thing that I really like about him and why I would not want to trade him at this point is because despite that, Grimes is still giving you important minutes on the floor because he's guarding the opposing team's best wing or guard. That's what his role is right now for this particular team. And I think those shots, those 3-point shots, are eventually going to fall. Early on, when Grimes first got into the starting lineup, they were falling down the stretch, right? So I just think he's going through a situation right now, you know, still being a young player in the NBA. I think that eventually will grow. If there's an opportunity for the Knicks to go get someone better, absolutely, I'm all for that. But I think right now, where the Knicks are, it should be no rush, in my opinion, to trade Quentin Grimes or to give up on the kid. Not saying that that's what you're doing, Steph, but, you know, I just don't think that should be a priority for the organization unless you're going out to get someone who is 10 times better, in my opinion, like a star type of guard or a star type of wing. I do think he needs to knock those shots down. Of course, we all want to see him hit those shots, but where the Knicks are and where he is in his career, I just don't think that it should be a priority for the Knicks to go and just trade Quentin Grimes. I think that he has a role on this team, and that's only going to continue to get better over time.
Right.
Yep.
I don't think anybody is saying, and I'm not saying to trade Quentin Grimes at all. But you can develop coming off the bench.
Agreed.
You can still develop coming off the bench. And I think where the Knicks are is the young guys are going to develop as we try to win games. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with if you bring in another 2 or another 3 who's a good defender and can knock down a 3 consistently, and Grimes comes off the bench. I don't see anything wrong with that. He's going to still, he'll still develop. To me. Yeah,
my question is in regards to that, but who are you giving up for said guy? Like, you know what I mean? You're going to have to either give up Grimes or RJ to play
It don't
in
have
there.
to be a star. So, for example, if the Knicks were to get Grayson Allen, I would start Grayson Allen over Grimes.
Wow.
And you don't have to give up. Yeah, you need a guy who can hit an open shot. I'm not saying Grimes should go down to 7 minutes.
No, I know what you're saying. Bring him off the bench, but I mean, I don't think Grayson Allen is, that much better than Quentin Grimes. I don't think Grayson Allen is that player.
Shooting wise, he is.
Yeah, right now, Korean. I agree with you.
Right now, I'm not saying. Listen, 3 years from now, Quentin Grimes, I think, is going to blow Grayson Allen out of the water. Maybe even 2 years from, maybe even next year.
Exactly.
Right, but right now, he's a very good defender, and I think Grimes' defense is really good. But let's stop acting like he's shutting people down. But it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But his shooting is inconsistent. But that's to be expected. So I'm not banging on him.
No, I got
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Bring in somebody who's a little ahead of him in terms of consistency. Quickley is not starting. There's a lot of guys who played off the bench and still developed and came into their own. Look at Quick, who right now, to me, is our best perimeter defender. And if he was 2 inches taller, should be starting over Grimes because he's just better.
So I agree
he's
with that.
He's a 4-year player, though. A 3 or 4 year. I forget. Yeah,
it's 3 years. It's 3 years. I agree with that assessment. I definitely think you can develop off the bench. I have no problem with that premise. And in regards to Quickley being the best perimeter defender, I mean, I don't agree. I think Quickley's up there. His defense has improved tremendously, but I don't think he's better than Quentin Grimes in the sense that you're not putting Immanuel Quickley on the opposing team's best ball handler. You're just not doing it.
You can't because of his size. But if he was 2 inches taller, you could. Look at the defensive rating. Quickley,
but he's not. He's not 2 inches taller, though. That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying he is the point guard position is the perimeter.
Pound for pound. Okay, you can say pound for pound. How about
He's a better defender. I don't even think it's close. Look at what Quickley does on the defensive end. Okay, all right.
I think it's different because Quickley's not guarding the opposing team's best player. It looks like Quentin Grimes' defense, has taken a step back or what have you, or it's not as good as Quickley's. But Quentin Grimes is guarding Jason Tatum. He's guarding Donovan Mitchell. He's guarding the opposing team's best player. Those players are going to score. They're going to get theirs. Kyrie is going to get his. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. When Quentin Grimes, that's his role on this current team, right? And I just don't think Quickley, because of the size limitations or what have you,
because of the size. Yes.
Right. Exactly. I'm not taking it away from him. I know that,
right.
But that's the reason why Grimes is in there, right? I think we all can agree on that. I do agree that Quentin Grimes can come off the bench if the Knicks are able to upgrade at that spot. I just think that, I don't think Grayson Allen is that much of an upgrade. I get the 3-point shooting. I get all of that, but I don't think Grayson Allen is the type of defender that Quentin Grimes is. I don't think you can put Grayson Allen on a Jason Tatum or
Listen,
Donovan
you can't
Mitchell,
put Grimes on Jason Tatum. We're doing things out of necessity. Grimes can't guard Jason Tatum. Now, I thought Grimes did a very good job on Donovan Mitchell, but we put him on Tatum. We put him on Siakam. We might even put him on Giannis. He cannot guard those guys. They can shoot over the top. So and if you look at his defensive rating, it's not great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but let's not act like Grimes' defense is all world.
That's not what I'm saying at all. My point is the reason why it's not is because of the people that he's going against. It's because he's going up against Tatum. You're not putting him on Giannis. Giannis was a bit of a stretch. But I'm talking about ball handling, like wing guard. That's the reason why you're putting him on there. And I think, yeah, those players are going to shoot over top of him. They're going to get their numbers. But Grimes does a decent job, as can be expected. But I think he does a little bit better than a decent job at defending those guys. Like, because that's the reason why you put him out there. Like, so if you get a star wing player or whatever, or any type of player like that, they don't have to worry about defending that particular player. That's why Grimes is out there. To me, Grayson Allen is not better in that regard than Quentin Grimes. Now, you can say the shooting, right? You can say
positive.
Net positive.
He's a net positive.
So,
he's a net positive. Go ahead.
And I understand that.
I'm
just confused about who we could potentially trade to get a player like that to come in here. That's what I'm really confused about.
Well, we don't know. I would start Josh Richardson too over Grimes.
Yeah,
I just think Grimes can still give us good minutes coming off the bench. I
agree with that
he's
as well.
Oversized. He's 6'4", 6'5", guarding 6'8", 6'9" guards. And that he's our best defender, that says a lot about how this team is more about how this team is constructed than it's saying about Grimes as well.
True.
That we don't have defenders. That we don't have defenders on this team. And listen, I'm not banging on Grimes. He's right where he needs to be. I think he's going to be a really good player. Really, really good player. I just think right now.
All right. Could I notate
Yes.
this time and date? That's the first time in history I agreed with Josh's take. I thought it was a very good take. So, Josh.
The first time? No.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you, man. I can see you're my grandson. Hardwell's my son. You're my grandson since you're Hardwell's son. So, I don't know. That was a good take. But I think the debate is nuanced, where the Queen's take and our subsequent agreement. I think we agreed to agree because we're almost on the same page regarding Grimes. And I would put Josh Richardson. So right now, because of how the team is going, what happened like yesterday, it exposes our flaws, and therefore Grimes does need to be temporarily tempered, just because of the fact that he does have the limitation, and our team has the limitations like that. So Grimes off the bench, I think, would be an incredible option for us if we had a player to be ahead of him. Grayson, though, with Grayson, I don't want to comment with Grayson like I don't want to come to RJ, but I'm so biased because I dislike him so much as a person. It's so tough for me to go. It's tough for me to give people credit when I dislike him so much. So, but he does have slight positive. But yeah, it's tough.
I have a question. So Steph, are you recommending that if the Knicks are able to get said guard, Grayson Allen or whoever, that they basically be a stopgap until Grimes is ready to go back into that starting lineup, you think?
Until he outplays them. Outplays them. Or until they trade for somebody. I mean, I think it's fluid. Like, I wouldn't say, we're putting him in and he's holding the fort. I would just say this player is playing because he's the best player right now. And then if 2 years from now that player becomes Grimes moves in. If 2 years from now we find somebody else that's even better than those two, then it's those two guys. But I like Grimes. I think he's going to be really, really good. So that's not my argument at all. I just think that he's not knocking down open shots, and that's going to be expected. He's going to have games when he does it and games when he doesn't. That's just part of being a second year. That's just part of being a second year. So I'm not talking about what he can be. I'm just saying.
Remember, I think Grimes literally is 400 minutes away from being there, which means that a half season away from being there. So literally, Grayson literally could take us to the playoffs. But just like with Fournier, first quarter next year, Grimes will take it back.
I'm not arguing. All right. I heart 20 minutes, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. I said it, I think it was 3 or 4 games ago. iHeart was looking a bit more spry to me, a bit more lively in terms of his movements. And, we'll see. And I see anyway, as the games have gone on, that he's looking much better defensively. He had a key block last night. Well, if there was such thing as a key block in that game last night. They went to him offensively. You know, he hit 4 or 5 shots. Him and Quickley got a little something going. I'm encouraged, if he's not traded, how he can help this second unit going forward. Thoughts on iHeart last night?
I think he was very aggressive offensively. He put the ball on the floor from the top of the key, drove to the basket, and scored.
I forgot about that.
Oh yeah. So he came to play yesterday. He was aggressive. What was he, 4 for 5 from the field?
He was.
He did great offensively, and defensively he showed presence. Like you said, it wasn't a great defensive game, but he put in a little bit of effort. More so, and he's very foul prone. But yesterday he wasn't as bad. So yeah, the last couple of games he's been much better than in previous games.
Yeah, I agree. I think iHeart has solidified the fact that we have 2 very solid backup centers. And I no longer automatically am going to give Sims the backup spot over him, because he's fighting for it right now and he shows the fight. Of course, I still think long term I prefer Sims, but I can see the attributes of iHeart that he showed yesterday, that he is a player that can go in there and give us some solid minutes. So again, the center position, unfortunately, in most cases, has been no longer necessary in so many teams.
Mm-hmm.
But iHeart is showing that if you want a center and you have the players around him to facilitate, he's a guy who can actually do it. Potentially, even some days he could start if you have the superstars around him. So if he was on the Nets, for example, he probably would be really fine because you got KD and Kyrie. So
yeah, I think with any player, when they playing bad, they look like they shouldn't even be in the NBA. And then when they playing well, you're like, wow, we could really use this guy. So it just depends on how they're playing over time. Anything else about McBride? iHeart, before we move on to Obi and McBride, and then to the next segment.
I think Isaiah Hartenstein has been playing much better since compared to the start of the season. I think he's really fitting in and finding his way. I still don't think it's enough, in my opinion, for the Knicks to look at him beyond next season. I still think he is a stopgap. The 2-year contract is what they signed him to. I think next season they're probably going to be looking to move Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe in the offseason or something like that. But from what he's giving us right now just has been out, has been good enough, exemplary in my opinion. So hopefully he can continue and keep it up. We're going to need those minutes, those important minutes from Isaiah Hartenstein, defensively and offensively. On the glass and stuff like that. But I just need him to truly continue this and keep this up while Mitch is out until we get Mitchell Robinson back. And also, I also want to point out that if the Knicks do decide, I don't think this is going to happen, but if they decide to trade Obi Toppin for a deadline move, depending on who they decide to get, I think Isaiah Hartenstein's minutes are going to be even more vital, because I think they can slide him in there at that backup 4th spot. While Mitch is the center, and then you got Jericho Sims as the backup 5, and Isaiah Hartenstein might see some minutes as the backup 4. So just point that out.
Yeah. Do you think if they trade him next season, and I know we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, would they trade him for a similar type player, or do you think that would just be Sims' minutes, so that when Mitch goes out, we would pretty much have the same look, first and second team?
I think it's the latter. I think it's the latter. I don't think they're going to trade him for someone of a similar type. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look back to what they did last year in regards to Nerlens Noel and to Alec Burks and all of them, they traded those contracts away. They really didn't get much in return except maybe some picks or what have you. You know what I mean? Just to make room for the younger guys to step up in that rotation. So I think it'll kind of be the same thing. And that's been the front office's MO, those 2-year contracts, really small, manageable, tradable deals that you can be able to move in order to develop, well, I don't want to say develop, but get the younger guys more playing time. That's just been their MO. Or if not that, then they probably try to, use Hartenstein and his money in the package for someone even bigger. Right? I think they're waiting for that. But in the meantime, they're going to, probably trade him away, contract, considerations or whatever, picks, just so that Sims can get more time in the offense.
Okay. McBride and Obi, we could talk about them together. Obi wasn't his best game, but look, this is how it is. You're gonna have some games when you have it. You're gonna have some games when you don't. I'm not down on Obi. McBride, in my opinion, is just not a rotation player right now. That's just it. He's just not a rotation player right now. The Knicks need, in my opinion, a backup point guard that can play 10 to 12 minutes behind Brunson and be able to. I know Quickley has the ball in his hands a lot, so I don't even know if you need a pure point guard. And I think that's why we hear Knicks going after shooting guards. I don't know if that's to bring for them to play in that second unit with Quickley. I don't know if it's to play in the first unit and have Grimes go to the second unit. But I just think McBride right now, I'm not talking about what he'll ever be, is just not ready. His shot, he shot well at West Virginia. He shoots well in the G League, but for whatever reason, his shot is not translating right now. Yep, that's where I am with McBride and Obi. The Knicks have decisions to make as far as Obi and IQ. I don't know if they have to make it next season. They're eligible for extensions. I don't know if they have to. They don't have to give them an extension.
IQ is in year 3, so no. Obi, yes, I think it's
same.
Oh no, they're the same year.
Yeah, so they're eligible for extensions, but they don't have to give them an extension. And I think the Knicks have a decision to make. Is Obi Toppin, your backup power forward going forward? And if he's not, you need to look to trade him. If not now, in the offseason.
I've always said that, Steph. I've always said that either Randle or Obi is going to have to go. You can sign Randle to a 4-year contract. You know what I mean? And you got a guy in Obi Toppin who, Obi Toppin's been playing, to me, for what Obi Toppin is, I personally would have rather have him than Randle at the beginning of the season, but Randle's shown me the ability to adjust, to play a little bit off the ball a little bit more, to move without the basketball. And I didn't think that he was capable of that before this season. So that's why I wanted to keep Obi. But I still think you got to move one of those guys. You can't have Obi sitting there waiting in the wings. You can get more bang for your buck if you go out and trade him or package him for someone bigger, a big time, wing or guard player that can come in and play in the rotation that can give us more for that start lineup. And just like you said, a net positive for the team overall.
Right. Anybody else on Obi and McBride?
Yes, I agree with you on Deuce McBride. He's not ready. It's a shame that he's getting. I mean, not a shame that he's getting that many minutes, but we do have other options. And Tom Thibodeau, for some reason, is totally in love with that kid. They probably see something that we don't. Okay, like you said, Queen, we don't know in the future. Right now, he's not ready. He plays good defense, but sometimes, he's very limited because of his height. I mean, yesterday, what did he do on defense? He's limited.
Well, he's limited overall, but it's Kyrie. I mean,
I know, but he shot 20% from the field yesterday. He just hasn't shot.
Yes,
he's not able to get a shot going. You need that. As a backup point guard, you need to have that in the bag. Obi, I think is going to get traded next week.
Oh,
wow.
That's just a gut feeling because I don't logically the way Tom Thibodeau is using him. He doesn't want Obi as part of his team. So if they could find a good deal for him, he's out of here. So,
yeah. Let me fix my curtain. Okay. All right. So let's go. I mean, I did that, and then now I'm going to the next. I just want to go back and just talk about Brooklyn real quick. Irvin, 32.6 rebounds, 9 assists, 5 3-pointers, shot 44.4% from the field. Joe Harris, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 threes, 66.7% from the field. Curry, 14 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 3-pointers, 55.6% from the field. And Royce O'Neal, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 threes, 40% from the field. They shot 53% from the field, 55% from the 3-point line, and they took 40 of them. And did not shoot well from the free throw line, 57.1%. The Knicks shot well from the field, 51%, 35.7% from 3, 79% from the free throw line. All right, team stats, if just anything that kind of sticks out for you guys, and then we'll move on to just general observations. The Knicks out-rebounded them by 10. Minus looks like 12 in the assists department, 10 turnovers. Brooklyn had 8. The Knicks, we just went over the shooting numbers. Knicks killed them in the paint, 68-34. Second chance points was relatively even, 14-15. I don't expect any fast break points from the Knicks, how they're playing over this 51 games. I don't know, maybe 35 games when they switch to a slower pace game. And the bench points, 30-33. Quickley had 16 of those. Hart had 8. So that accounted for 24 of the bench points. Any comments on anything stand out for you as far as the team stats is concerned?
Before we move on again, I want to notate the time again, 8:22. That again, this is January. What's the date? Again, I agree with Josh's take. So
you on the West Coast?
You on the
West Coast?
He's on the West Coast.
I'm in Studio City. I go to my coffee location, Pete's Coffee for my snack, and then coffee bean and tea leaf for my coffee. I don't think you guys have coffee bean and tea leaf out there, or even Pete's. I just don't do Starbucks because they don't let us use their bathrooms. People of my view. Anyway, yeah, just real quick, and man, I'm in the McBride hive, right? I mean, I'm CEO, president, CFO, COO, name it. I'm in C-suite of every responsibility. I see something in that kid, man. I call them babies, or CP3 2.0, with a little Garrett Payton defensive skills. That's how much I think about him. But I'm glad to agree with you, man. Go ahead, Josh. OB Hive also, but I'm just a VP in OB Hive. Yeah, we do have to probably move on, and it's just breaks my heart that these guys are not, well, obviously CP3 2.0 is developing. He's still developing. He's still got a ways to go to get his shot together. And he's about a year and a half away from actually, he's basically where Grimes was last year, and Grimes still is trying to find his way offensively. So I'm giving even McBride more chance because he's only played about 40 NBA games. So when he gets to game 100, then I want to see where he is at that point. But regarding the stats, offensively, again, Queenie, when you said it, right? We talked about this. We have it. We have enough firepower. We have enough resources. Maybe not enough clutch stuff, but we have enough offensively to challenge every team. To give up, was that 22 3-pointers? How many did
40. No. They shot 40. Let me see.
They hit.
I will tell you right now. 22. Right? You're right. 22.
Yeah. I mean, when you're giving up 50+% on the 3-point line, I'm sorry, but that's where I'm the craziest outside the box thinker. I'm like, every single Knick, just get on the 3-point line and stand there. Let them get dunks. I'm just saying, you got to stop that. Just go out there, put Hart or Sims. Just say, get out the 3-point line and let's stand on each point, about 5 feet apart on the 3-point line, and no one gets a 3. If Kyrie is going to shoot from the logo, get to the logo. Just stop. Just stop that perimeter scoring, man. I just cannot. It blows my mind to let a team get 22 of those 40 shots, and so that's how I'm regarding the defense. Is that our perimeter defense has to be a top priority, and I'd rather lose them beating us in the paint, or beat us in mid range than beat us with 3-pointers. Other than that, I think we have the capability of beating them, but that's literally we are 1 3-pointer away basically from beating them. So if we just held them to like 40% threes, we win the game by 10. I mean, it's just so obvious.
We could say that now, but I think that whatever deficit we would have, whatever Brooklyn needed, Kyrie would have gave it to him. Instead of 21, he would have had 30 if that's what they needed.
100%.
Oh man.
He was that good. He's that good.
He was that
He's
good
that
last
good.
night. But listen, overall though, I'm not saying the Knicks could not have won this game. Brooklyn, since KD has been out, Brooklyn has been 2-6. So it's not like Kyrie has been carrying this team since they've been out. So there was a path to winning, right? But it starts with defense. And right now, the Knicks are not a very good defensive team. So we could start with our general observation. And now, Josh, if you wanted to say something about the
I'll go after you. I'll go after you. Open it up.
Yeah. We're 17th in defense now. At one point, we was 5th. So that means over the past 2-3 weeks, if we're 17, we're probably like 30 over the past few weeks, right? To make that big of a drop, right? So right now we're 17th in defense. We were, the last time I checked, over the past few weeks, we were no higher than 23rd. The defense has gone south. And quite frankly, I don't see it coming back because, you know, Randle and Brunson, they're a big part of the offense. Yes, we want them to be better defensively, but how much? I don't think you can expect them to be lockdown defenders given their offensive load. It would be great if, you know, you got Grimes who's a defender, you got Mitch who's a defender. It would be great if RJ was a defender, right? He's not. So I don't really see a path forward defensively. I just don't. Yeah. Anyway, Josh, and if you wanted to say something about the last segment.
Yeah. I mean, and this goes hand in hand. I think the Knicks opposing three-point shooting has been dreadful over the past. Opponents' three-point shooting has been great. The opponents have been shooting great from three over the past 2 to 3 weeks, and I think that's been the biggest reason for the drop-off. In regards to the two teams last night, I mean, the Knicks, if you look at the Knicks stat line, like, you know, pound for pound from top to bottom, that's what I want from the Knicks offensively, what they gave us yesterday. I want those types of numbers. The thing is, when you go up against a team like Brooklyn, who has a player of the caliber of Kyrie Irving and the amount of shooters that they have, Brooklyn's going to try to outscore you, and the Knicks just don't have the dogs. Even though we played a really good offensive game, in my opinion, we don't have the dogs to compete with Brooklyn on that type of level. Brooklyn's thing is they want to outscore you, and when they get KD back, they're still going to try to outscore you and put up 120, 130 points per game. And the Knicks just can't keep up. The big thing that stood out for me last night is they shot 50% from the field and 55% from three. The Knicks are not going to beat any teams giving up 55% from the three-point line. That's just not going to happen. You know, I don't think any team can win playing a team that can be that hot from three-point range, right? And I attribute a lot of that to Brooklyn and Kyrie Irving and how Brooklyn runs their offense. I just don't think there was really much the Knicks could do to change the outcome of Brooklyn because of their hot shooting. If you double Kyrie Irving, someone's going to be open from three. That's just what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So I just don't think it's anything for the Knicks to do. But Queen, I agree with you. I think the Knicks defense has taken a step back, and hopefully the offense can be able to pick up some of that slack a little bit. I think it has picked it up just a little bit. But this team is kind of mediocre. That's what the Knicks are. You know, they'll get hot offensively. They'll get hot offensively, and the defense will take a step back, and then they'll get hot defensively, and then they'll try to stop teams and win barely, you know, by a couple points or a couple possessions. You know what I mean? So that's just what the Knicks are. They're a mediocre squad.
I kind of disagree with that a little bit, Queen, and I want to say real quick. Josh says there's nothing they could have done. I disagree. There is something we could have done, but the problem is we didn't do neither. We didn't double Kyrie, and we didn't guard the three-point line. So you had to do either one of those. We didn't do either one of those. So that's why they were wide open. I mean, Watanabe shot 3 for 3. Sumner 2 for 2. Those guys are 100% from 3. So you had O'Neal was knocking it down because Julius Randle was in no man's land. Like half the time he was shooting all night. So we could have done either one of those. Either double Kyrie or go on with Kyrie, let him get his, but make sure you check everybody else. We didn't do either one of those.
I agree. I think this was a winnable game. This is not a roster that came in with KD, Ben Simmons, who was guarding Randle, Kyrie Irving. This was a team where the Knicks, because of their poor defense, their poor three-point defense, allow guys who don't usually shoot the way they shoot to shoot lights out.
Like right? Who on Brooklyn can't shoot the way they shot last night?
No. 3 for 3. Watanabe. I'm not saying he can't shoot the three, but they shot 55% from the three-point line. They don't shoot like that on the season. They shot like that against the Knicks. So I'm not saying they don't have good three-point shooters, but what I'm trying to say is every three-point shooter last night was on because of the Knicks' poor defense. Now think about it. Since KD has been out, they've been 2-6. Detroit beat them. So I'm not going to come in and concede that the Knicks could not have won this game. Because they are not a good team when KD and Ben Simmons is out. Yeah, you're going to lose when you, like you said, Josh, if you allow them to shoot the way they shoot, you're going to lose. You give Watanabe, he shoots 3 of 3. Edmund Summer shoots 2 of 2. Seth Curry shoots 2 of 3 from the 3. Joe Harris 4 of 7. Royce O'Neal, I had him on my fantasy team. He doesn't even shoot like that. Everybody was hot last night because there was no resistance from the Knicks at all defensively. And to my earlier point, I thought Randle was not as aggressive in that fourth quarter. We were down 5. We were down 3. He's right at the basket to make a basket to put us within 2 or within 1. Listen, I get it. Kyrie probably would have came around on the other end and scored. Okay, it still doesn't let you off the hook. Why are you passing the ball out when you're right at the basket? That's the micro view. I hear you macro, Josh, the macro view. Oh, they just a good team. They got a star. We don't have a star. There's nothing we can do. They win the game. All right. They fought hard. Rah, rah, rah. No, I'm taking the micro view.
Right.
Julius Randle had an opportunity to be a bit more aggressive and stop spraying the ball out, looking for somebody when you're right at the basket. It's you. It's not Grimes, who wasn't having a great game last night. And so I would have double teamed Kyrie. Now, those other guys were hot. But I would have still got the ball out of Kyrie's hand to see if they were still hot in the fourth quarter, right? We did it once or twice. I would have trapped him most of that fourth quarter and let those other guys beat me late.
Exactly. So I see that the possibility from the numbers point of view that they shot 17 of 40. That's slightly above average, but that'll be acceptable. So 5 less threes may have translated to 3 2s. So those 5 shots would have been 3 2. So literally it's only a couple of points, but that's what we basically lost by, right? Our issue was the couple of points we could have had that could have made a break the team. Ty would have gotten those 2s because we'd have shut down the 3-point line. He would step it a little bit, he would drive to the basket, get a 3. Maybe a possibility that he may have gotten an old school 3-point play, but more often than not, he would have gotten 2s instead of 3s. That's all I wanted. Let him shoot 40% from 3, but 62%, it's just unacceptable. And that's where I think we had a chance where we could have won the game, or at least given ourselves a better chance to win the game. And that's my concern. The defense without Fournier, I know Andy's in Europe right now going, see, it's not Fournier's fault. So, I know he's saying that right now, but he's celebrating, going.
He is. Let me bring Josh up so I can still put some comments up while he's speaking. Go ahead, Josh. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say I'm not taking the Knicks off the hook here. That's not what I'm trying to do at all. I like the fact that the Knicks were able to fight back in the game. And come back in the game. And I'm not just accepting this loss saying that, it's whatever or anything like that. But what I am saying is the Nets, even without KD, the Nets are, even though they're 2-8, that's 2-7, whatever it is, the Nets, they outscore you. That's what they do. That's their MO. They're not going to lock teams down and that's not their thing, right? So the thing is, the Knicks could have won the game because the Nets don't play that good a defense. Right, the Knicks scored 115 points, and their percentages were decent. 50% from the field, 35 from 3 or whatever. Like, the Knicks played a good offensive game, so I don't think that was the issue. The issue was, when you play against a team like Brooklyn, even though they don't have KD, they still got one of the top 10 talents in the world in Kyrie Irving, and they still have shooters who can knock it down, who are all capable shooters. Now, my whole point was, I think if the Knicks would have doubled Kyrie Irving, I think you still would have got the same effect as far as those shooters are concerned. Or if we would have stayed out on the shooters and played one-on-one with Kyrie's still going to do his thing. And the Knicks would have got outscored because they don't have the dogs to compete with Brooklyn. They just don't. We don't have the capable shooters, like you said, Queen. Quentin Grimes is not that level of a shooter. He's
not. But what I'm trying to say what I'm trying to say is those guys don't shoot like that every night. I get what you're saying, that potential is there. They have better shooters overall. They're 2-6 over their last 8. In my opinion, the Knicks are a much more talented team than the Nets team that they put on the floor last night. And over the last 8, since is it 8 or 9? I think he's been out 9 games.
It's not. I think it's 2-7. 2-7, yeah.
Right.
Or 3-7 now, something like that.
Right. So over the last 9 games, Brooklyn is 21st in points over the last game. So I get you. I get what you're saying. They try to outscore you. That's what they do. They're not a good defensive team. But since KD has been out, they're scoring 113.8 points on the season over the last 9 games. This was a game the Knicks could have won. I'm just not buying that that team last night was a better team than the Knicks. But I will say they were a better team last night. They shot better than the Knicks last night. Watanabe came off the bench and gave them 9 points with Randle standing right next to him, Obi standing right next to him. Excuse me, I shouldn't say right next to them, leaving him open. And they knocked down their shots last night. So they played better. But it's just hard for me to accept that team that lost to Detroit, and that was 2-6, now 3-6 over their last 9 without KD, was a better team than the Knicks last night.
So
the Knicks lost.
So Brooklyn this season is shooting 39% from 3-point range overall, which is second in the NBA. And they're shooting 51% from the field, which is first in the NBA. And that's with KD, right? Without KD, Brooklyn is shooting 50% from the field and 40% from 3-point range without KD. So they're still putting up the same percentages. They're still knocking down their shots.
How much they're shooting from 3?
39.8, which is 40% from 3 without KD on the season. That's 10 games. And they're 4-6. They have 4-6, I think, without KD this season. It's still a powerful offensive team. Now, they may not put up 130 points. However, their percentages, they are efficient without KD.
But Josh, there's a difference between 40% and 50%. That's a huge difference.
Queen, I agree.
That's a huge. So
no. You said that they don't shoot that way. They don't shoot that way normally. They do. They do. Shoot
No.
Way
that's
normally.
not what I'm saying.
Not 55%.
No,
but
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying. They're a good offensive team. They're not a good defensive team.
Right.
Without KD, their offense has fallen off some. It has. Okay? Still, there's a difference between 40% and 50%. You can't tell me what all 3 of their Watanabe is shooting 100% on the season. Steph Curry is shooting what he shot. Okay, so the point I'm trying to make is the Knicks defense stinks. I get what you're saying. They're a good offensive team, and if you want to say it's a disaster mix in the sense that you got a still good offensive shooting team coming up against a struggling Knicks team, and that's not a good match. Okay, fine. I could agree with that part. But still, they can't defend. You can't tell me that if Randle had that same energy he had against Royce O'Neal, that he doesn't have a better game than he has. Those guys are not defensive juggernauts either.
They're not. No, not at all.
They're not. But I just felt like the Knicks particularly ran, and it's hard to bang on a guy who had 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that he could have been a bit more aggressive against Royce O'Neal. Who's Royce O'Neal? He ain't got nothing for Randle in my opinion.
He ain't nobody.
So I think two, like we always say, 2 things can be true at the same time.
At the same time.
I just think Brooklyn is an offensive juggernaut with or without KD. They are. Their offense has not taken that much of a step back. They're averaging, what is it, on the season? Brooklyn's averaging 15th in the NBA in points per game, for 114.4. Without KD, their points have dropped to what? What is that?
113 or something.
113 point something. So they're still scoring and they're still efficient from the field with or without KD. I mean, I get it. I mean, that's the micro view if you want to say, well, without KD, we should have beat them. But I think if you look at it more nuanced and look at who Brooklyn has, and the Knicks play an absolute role in that. 55% is a lot. We give a 55%. We gave 55% to Boston early in the season, and we scored a ton of points on offense, but we couldn't. No team in the NBA is going to win like that when you go up against a team that's that hot. You know what I'm saying? So,
but
I
this
do
is what
think
I'm saying, Josh.
Play a role. The Knicks play a role in it, Queen.
They do.
I agree with you 100%.
But listen, the Nets are 3-6 without KD. Why the Knicks can't be one of those teams? 3-6. So they're this big offensive juggernaut, even though they have KD. They're 3-6 without him.
What we weren't talking about, well, you mentioned the win-loss record, but you also mentioned the percentages and who Brooklyn is as a team offensively. You mentioned that, so that's what I was addressing. Okay. The win-loss record, Detroit beat them because Detroit outscored them. Detroit had a hot game, and they outscored them. So the Knicks could have won the game. I'm not saying the Knicks couldn't have won the game, but specifically the offense.
Earlier you said that the Knicks are a mediocre team, and that it's to be expected that they're going to lose to the Knicks. And what I'm saying with this particular roster, I'm not letting the Knicks off the hook. I don't even care if their offense hasn't taken a little drop. The Knicks could have and should have won that game. Period, point blank. Because, okay, fine. You're not going to defend, and they're not, they're shooting well. You're allowing their three-point shooters to get any shot they want. What are you doing on offense? RJ Barrett is trying to take Kyrie Irving off the dribble. Why? Why are you not posting up Kyrie Irving? Why, Randle, are you at the basket passing out to Grimes, who was shot 16.7% from the free throw line when that basket could have put us within 3 or 1 or whatever it was? You're right there at the basket. I just felt like offensively, and I hear what you're saying, Josh, I just felt offensively, the defense is not working. Offensively, then give it to them.
Right. You think we have the dogs to keep up even without KD? You think we have the dogs to keep up with the Nets without KD?
Yeah. 100. They scored 120. They scored 122 points. Grimes was 2 for 14. Randle at some point, in my opinion, stopped being aggressive.
Okay.
He should have been killing Royce O'Neal, getting the ball every time. Kyrie score, give me the ball against Royce O'Neal. Either they're gonna foul me, or I'm hitting the basket. Right?
Also remember,
just think about him 1 minute think about him against Boston. The body language was super different against Boston. I don't know. I was just expecting that same thing from Randle. And you can't kill a guy who had 8 assists. I just thought something just wasn't there in terms of the aggressiveness.
Something was missing. I'm tracking.
You didn't see that? I don't know. I just thought something was
No. I said I understand. I'm tracking. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I agree.
There's 3 things I want to just mention real quick. With KD out of the game, not just his shooting, but defensively, KD is a factor. So we could have probably scored more. I mean, we should have scored more because KD was missing from the defensive side as well. The other aspect is the Nets crowd was calling out Randle, and maybe that affected him psychologically as well. I don't know if you guys heard what they were saying to him. Overrated. And I don't know. I just somehow feel when he's in New York City and he starts hearing the voices, he can mess with his head a little bit. So that could have been a factor.
That's what they were saying last night? I didn't hear that. They were saying that?
They were yelling overrated. Yeah.
I don't think I don't know how that affected him. I mean, yesterday we learned that he was 10th in MVP voting. So now he's entered the top 10 MVP conversation. So the 38 fans in Brooklyn who was chanting overrated shouldn't have bothered him.
Well, it shouldn't. I know, but we all say that something shouldn't bother Randle, but something probably do. I'm just saying it's a possibility because something's changed. And I don't know if I would have been Randle should have been even more aggressive yesterday than he was against Boston because it's the Nets, because we haven't beaten them, because they're our rivals in town. So I'm just saying it's a possible theory. And so the final thing was defensively, I don't know if I'm going to even necessarily put it on Randle or the players. I got to go back to the guy who orchestrates our offense from the sideline and who somehow could have said, get out to the 3-point line. Because even Grimes, when I saw Sim trying to sneak over to make sure that that Kyrie doesn't drive past him. But at that point, I think Grimes should have tightened up and just be on him and let him beat him. Let go past him. Don't give him that shot in that fourth quarter. Because once he started hitting the first two, I would have been like, I said, you hug him, foul him, whatever you gotta do, become his best friend and become his girlfriend and become a lot of PDA. I want you to almost kiss that guy where he doesn't get a 3-point shot. And I saw Grimes trying to play.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, I'm going to the extreme of he should have been right there on him, let him drive past him if he can. And I just think that's the only way to stop that juggernaut 3-point attack that destroyed us. That's just my thought.
You talking about Kyrie down the stretch?
Yeah, down the stretch.
I think at that point, I mean, listen, somebody brought up a good point. You know, there was no reason for us to trail the entire game. Even if they win, we trail the entire game. But listen, the only thing you could have done, in my opinion, because Grimes played him well, Kyrie he took shots like 2 or 3 feet off of the 3-point line.
Oh yeah, he was on that bad boy.
I mean, when they get in that type of zone, the only thing you could do is trap them, get the ball out their hands. But this is what happens. You're going to trap Kyrie. He's going to pass the ball. He's going to cut. He's going to get it right back. But I still would have tried it. He's just a bad man. I mean,
boy ain't no joke.
Yeah,
no joke. He ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah. All right, let's set up our next game. Yes.
The earth is flat now. The earth could be flat.
What did he say?
Flat.
He said the earth could be flat.
It could be. Okay.
I said it because he's so bad. I'm like, I'm gonna believe whatever you say, dude, because you know something.
Wiz, listen, listen. People can say all they want about Kyrie as a person and what he does off the floor. Deep down, you wish you had him. He's that good of a player. I'm sorry. You wish you had that guy. Yes.
If he's going to play a whole season, if he's going to play a whole season, no doubt about it.
Because I think Kyrie takes you to that level. Like if this team had Kyrie and instead of Brunson, this team is.
I mean, yeah, of course. If the Knicks had Giannis instead of Randle, I mean, of course. If you can trade out any one of our players for a superstar, we're going to be a different team. No doubt about it.
I'll take Kyrie 60 games a year. I'll take him 60 over anybody we got for 82. That's how about.
Okay.
He wants to take off 20 games.
Okay,
go ahead, son. Go ahead and sail around the world, but he can't go around it. Whatever he wants to do. Whatever you want to do, Tyler. Go ahead and then come back. Just give me the 60 games and be here for the playoffs. I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. Eastern Conference, the Knicks are still in 7th place, but they are now 1.5 games behind Miami and 1.5 games in front of Atlanta. Our next game is Tuesday against the Lakers. The Lakers are 4 games under 500, 23-17. 13th in the Western Conference, 4-6 over their last 10. They lost their last game to Boston. 16th in offensive rating, 20th in defensive rating. I don't think the net rating is correct or the record against. Sorry about that. But those numbers mean absolutely nothing coming into the game Tuesday, coming into the Garden Tuesday. It's going to be a hard-fought game, and I wouldn't even look at the Lakers' record. They got LeBron James. AD is back. So the last game they started Dennis Schroeder, Patrick Beverley, Troy Brown Jr., LeBron James, and Thomas Bryant. Was AD hurt the last game, or did he play?
He played yesterday. He played yesterday.
He just didn't come on. He just didn't start. Okay.
What? Did you see Patrick Beverley yesterday? He played. He was balling. Go ahead, baby. We don't want to talk about the Lakers.
Yeah. So that's who the Knicks play Tuesday. Any thoughts on this game?
Queen, my only concern, you talk about the Lakers game.
Yes.
I just don't. I know LeBron, what did I say? 137 points. He better not come in here and try to break his record. Like everybody come on the Knicks and make history over here at Madison Square Garden. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
He's not going to score 115 points at the Garden.
Josh, with our luck, he's going to drop 70 on Brooklyn tomorrow. and then try to come in here and break his record. All right. So I just don't want that to happen. Without luck.
Listen, if he scores 65, we know that's what he's gunning for. If he scores 65 against Brooklyn, we know he's trying to break it against the Knicks. I don't think that's going to happen.
Did anyone see the Celtics Lakers game last night?
No, I think they only lost by 4, though. That was a tough game. Like It's Me is saying, they lost a tough game. Lakers are going to show Tuesday. And the same thing with Brooklyn. They lost to Detroit. You knew they were coming with some urgency with this game.
They were amazing last night. And they actually should have won the game because LeBron took the last shot with a tied in regulation, and he actually got fouled, a clear foul, but they couldn't challenge because he been fouled before.
Yeah.
They should have had that big victory. Patrick Beverly. I don't like him either. He's not a Grayson to me, but man, three-pointer.
Wiz, at the end of the game yesterday, man, he was clutch.
He was clutch. It was like
clutch yesterday, man.
We don't have that. Both sides, Patrick Beverly was clutch. So AD came off the bench. So he's working his way back in. And they look like 10 games from now, they look like contenders. And that's why Tuesday in the Garden, LeBron getting close to the scoring record, AD feeling better, Pat Bev being that he's not a dog, man. He's beyond pit bull. I mean, he's like a tiger, lion, dragon, dog. Pat Beverly. Man.
But there's many in the Nets who in the Knicks family. When I said, listen, we can use him 12 to 14 minutes behind Brunson. Oh no, he's fell off. He can't really defend anymore. He can't hit the 3. I said, over the past few seasons, he's been hitting the 3. You know, I think that ship has sailed now because they traded for Rui Hachimura. What Shaq say? Hoochie Mama. Well, Hachimura. So I think that ship has sailed. Yeah, go ahead, Wiz. Yeah, hello.
Did Wiz drive?
Wiz dropped off?
No, he's still here. He just muted.
He's just muted. All right. Sorry, but the Laker game needs to be the game you look at as a must win. Can't afford to lose to sub 500 teams. Go ahead, Wiz. I'm sorry I cut you off.
I don't know. Actually, I got a call. No, I was gonna say also that every time I doubt the Queen, I gotta go back to my first mantra. The Queen is always right. I didn't want Pat Bev. I was like, dang God, the Queen is right again. That
for 14 minutes. He was struggling earlier. He was struggling earlier in the season, though. Don't get me wrong. He was. But I just figured for 14 minutes the Knicks need a dog like that. Exactly. Where are the Knicks right now with Pat Bev
instead of
Deuce and Jay Crowder? Oh, you don't need to play them a lot of minutes. I'm just saying, where would the Knicks be?
Right. I agree. I like Jay, but I didn't want Pat.
I didn't want Crowder either.
Kicking myself, dang, Queen is right again. The Queen is right again. But yeah, I mean, I'm worried about Tuesday's game. It's at the Garden, so our home record is not that good, which is shocking that we still haven't turned that around yet. And that's the reason why I threw the chant about Randle out there, because I think the home court with the noise is tough for him to block out right now. I think he's getting there. He's slowly getting his, mental together, his emotional together. I think there's still a little bit of something left over.
You think so?
I don't know why. I don't know why we're losing at home. It's not like we're losing. I mean, maybe I should do the record. Maybe we're playing better teams at home than on the road, or whatever the scenario is. But something about being a losing team at home disturbs me, and I'm trying to find it. So I'm just trying to grab anything. I don't know where it is. Maybe I don't know if it's Brunson, if it's Randle, but there's something about when he at your home court in the Garden and he can't get the game to the next level and you're losing close games at home, it just irks me. So I'm just trying to find something. I'm grasping at straws here. But I just cannot accept being a losing team on your home court, especially at the Garden. I understand for you Jets and Mets fans, you guys don't mind losing at home because your stadiums don't really have any significance to you. But Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, Yankee Stadium, we don't lose at home. I'm just saying that's my Yankees.
Oh,
You know?
please. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that nonsense. Listen, as far as the Lakers are concerned, I think the game is definitely winnable. Not for the fact that, the Lakers are under 500 and Knicks are over 500. I don't take any stock in that at all.
Right.
But I do take stock in the fact that the Lakers don't have that good of shooting. They're not that good, three-point shooting team. They still have the best player on the floor, LeBron James, who's going to do what he does. But they don't have the level and caliber shooters as like a Brooklyn would have or like a Boston would have. So I think it's much winnable from that regard. I think the game will be low scoring, meaning low 100s type of game. And because of that, I think that goes in the Knicks' favor. And I think that's definitely winnable for us. All right. The low scoring type of games is definitely winnable. LeBron James is going to be a problem to defend all night. AD is going to be a problem to defend all night. So this game can go either way.
Hachimura.
And I think Westbrook too. You got to keep him in front of you. Just don't allow him to get into the lane. Play him for the jump shot.
Exactly, and I think you played most of the Lakers for that way. You know what I mean? And based off of that, the Knicks defend the paint. I think as well as any team in the NBA, they defend the paint with or without Mitch. That's going to be the strategy. I think the Knicks have a good chance of winning this ball game, despite the Lakers having the best player on the floor, or the two best players on the floor, in Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and don't forget about Russell Westbrook. You know what I mean? So that should be the Knicks' MO is letting them shoot their 3-pointers, and if they let that happen and the Lakers shoot a low percentage from the field, the Knicks got to be to capitalize on the offensive end. Let's see if they're able to do it.
Yeah, and we need an attacking Randle and Brunson, and they have to find the balance between when to attack, when to pass. Can't just get in passing mode one game, attacking mode the other game. Mix it up. Figure out the times in the games when you need to attack, times in the games when you need to pass, depending on what the defense is doing. All right. We out of here. Where to find me? 8:30 p.m. Queens Court on Nothing But Knicks, where we'll talk about these last 3 games in a panel format. So be sure to join me over there. That's Mondays, 8:30, Nothing But Knicks. Wednesday, I'll be back here for the morning recap show of the Lakers. And then Friday, because the Knicks play Thursday, the Just Nicking It show will move from Thursday to Friday. All right. Any last words before we get out of here? Yes.
I want to notate the time and date again. I disagree with Josh again on his last take. I want to notate that. This is historic occasion. But Josh, you're my grandson. I'm going to send you, $2 in the mail at my birthday. Okay, tell me when your birthday is and Christmas. I said you $2, but
$2. What I'm gonna do with $2, man?
That's what grandparents do, man. They don't give real big bucks. But I'm in LA, so $2 to LA people is $2K. Talking about maybe that's $2 grand or $20 grand. You don't know how I'm rolling. Maybe 2 Bitcoins.
Exactly.
Maybe 2 Bitcoins. Who knows?
Highest winners out there. I don't blame you.
Any last words, Wiz, Josh, Ajay?
First, I just want to thank you, Quentin, real quick before I'm gonna head out because I got a call from the boss. That's called the wifey. I want to say that your shows are always on point. The Queen is always right, and even when she's wrong, she's logically correct. Ajay, Josh, you guys are great panelists, man. Great basketball minds, and I think we're gonna challenge Lakers on but I'm not optimistic right now because of the home court and LeBron's mission and what I saw yesterday when he with Hachimura walking in there first game with them and just blended right in and just showed some skill sets. I was like, wow, we need a player like that because he actually looked really good. And then of course Pat Bev. And we can't let Westbrook go off because man, if he goes aggressive against us, we're gonna have a tough time. So looking forward to again your shows, Queen, and
appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, man.
All right, man.
All right,
Queen.
Go ahead, actually. I'm sorry.
No, I was just to say before we get out of here, we're only a few days away from the trading deadline, man. I got to see what this front office is gonna do.
If anything,
yeah, like you said, it could be somebody off waivers they picking up. It could be a tiny move. I just hope we get a backup point guard to back up Jalen Brunson because Deuce McBride right now he's not producing. Doesn't say he's not gonna be good, but he's just not ready. Where we at right now as a team, he's not ready for this.
Right.
Keep my Deuce out of your.
Wiz.
But does it have to be a point guard? It could be a two guard, and quickly handles handles the ball.
Yeah.
And
Backup guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, 1 p.m., me and Andy are going to get on for a show for the controversy. So trade deadline show for the controversy. So come check us out over on NBK in about 1 hour. And I just want to say to all the fans out there, please tone down the hyperbole. After every game, when we win and when we lose, it's always this hyperbolic amount of tweets and stuff like that. Just kind of tone it down. Understand where the Knicks are right now in the process. I get it. There's some games we should win. You can questionable decisions, what have you. But where the Knicks are right now, it's important to remember that the Knicks are in a culture building stage. And I like the fact that they kept the game close and that they were able to fight back in the game. Right? They were able to fight back in the game in that fourth quarter, despite what you think may or may not should not have happened. So check me out 1 p.m. Me and Andy going to talk about some trades for the deadline, and then see you over there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good luck with that, Josh. I think every fan has their own way of looking at the Knicks, and I don't know if that's gonna change. But good luck with that. Listen, I appreciate all of you rocking with me today. Glamour Knicks, Geraldine, Michael Sharon. I'm not going to get to everybody. Quiet Money, DJ Shuttle, Rebuild, NYK, Ajay, Wiz, Josh, of course, Mike Boy, Anna Grill, Geraldine MacGyver, JJ. I'm not going to get to everybody. G. Robinson, Omega, Kerry Cox. I appreciate you. Keith Turner, as always, BN. There's no Dope Soul Sports Talk without the chat. And so I always try to shout you guys out. And I listen to you guys. And also who listen afterwards and take the time to put the comments underneath the video. I've learned a lot from that as well. And that has allowed me to kind of change my opinion or have a more nuanced opinion about a few things. So I appreciate you guys for that. I'll see you Monday night, 8:30 and that's for the chat as well. Uncle Freezy had me thinking after our last show. All right, let me see where we at. Until
hit a like, subscribe.
Yes,
subscribe.
Yes.
Yo, the merch store, Queen. Your merch store is bomb, man. It's fire. Go to the merch store. The Cash App actually works, right, Queen? The
Cash App actually works. If you want to support the channel that way, you could do that. If you want to buy the merchandise, the link is in the description. Liking the show also helps. Subscribing definitely helps. And sharing it on social media helps grow the channel as well. So there's monetary and non-monetary ways to help the channel grow. I appreciate you. All right.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you turn. Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.
What?